President Trump last night repeated his warnings that the rise of democratic socialists represents a new communist threat to the United States. Some of those far-left candidates are using the term comrades now to describe their supporters.
Half of the people here are strangers to you all. Just months ago, you didn't know them. But now you have comrades.
You deserve to make sure that your international comrades are actually working with you and getting the benefits that you all deserve.
I gotta give a shout out to my comrades. I mean, we are winning power. It's not just winning tweets or winning messages. We're winning power.
Let's bring in Fox News contributor Richard Fowler. Richard, you're a solid Democrat. You got any comrades out there?
I don't have any comrades, I must say, John. Thanks for having me. Happy 4th to you.
Happy 4th. Yeah, what's going on? I mean, is this a sort of a talking point among these so-called democratic socialists? Are they trying to get people comfortable with comrades in the vocabulary?
I don't know about that. I do think the word choice of the president last night actually does matter. I think there's a distinction between communism when you think of the Soviet Union or you think of the Cold War versus what you see many of these sort of modern day American politicians and what they're advocating for. What they're advocating for is the expansion of the social safety net. Many of the programs that the American people, you and I, think are very popular. My mom is on Social Security. I know folks who are on Medicare or Medicaid. There's some seniors who live in my neighborhood who are Meals on Wheels. These are all government programs that at the time of implementation, many folks called those programs socialist, and now some of the most popular programs amongst the American people. And I think when you talk to some of these candidates, what they're saying is, in a world in which we see high rent, in a world in which we see the high cost of health care, in a world in which we see child care, which for many families can average $13,000 a year for an infant, up to $20,000 in some states for just taking care of an infant baby so mom and or dad could go back to work. There's something uniquely wrong with that cost structure, and maybe, just maybe, there should be some more government-run programs that help alleviate that pain on working families so they can contribute to our economy.
I want to point out that on the other side of the aisle, Republicans are watching this rise of democratic socialism in the Democrat Party and making some observations about why it seems to be gaining steam. Here's Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House.
I think quietly, the Democrat establishment on Capitol Hill understands that, but they feel powerless to stop it, because if they stand up and say this is wrong, the problem they have is the energy, the excitement, the money, the grassroots is on the side of the insurgent left. And this is a threat that we have never seen before in the elected system of our government.
He calls democratic socialists, or socialism, he says it's a threat. What do you say, Richard?
There's a lot of things that are a threat. I don't think the ideal of fighting for lower health care costs is a threat. And to be honest with you, I think there's a lot of Americans that are frustrated with the Democratic establishment, and they're also frustrated with the Speaker of the House. And here's why: because they see folks like Elon Musk, like Jeff Bezos, both individuals that have benefited or are currently benefiting from high-priced government contracts, or some of the big banks, John, that in 2008 got big bailouts from this government, corporate welfare, right? And they're saying they got a bailout. Me and my family never got a bailout, and we continue to struggle. And one of the reasons why we feel like we're continuing to struggle is because many of the folks we have elected to Capitol Hill have neglected our pain. They've neglected our suffering, and they've only done the bidding of their top donors. And the result of that, you see it in the One Big Beautiful Bill, which is a tax giveaway to millionaires and billionaires. And it took away money from food stamps. It took away money from Medicaid, and it gave it to folks who didn't need that money, folks who are millionaires and billionaires who have tons of extra money left over in the bank after they pay their taxes.
One guy who is not lauding the presence of democratic socialists is Senator John Fetterman from Pennsylvania. He says that anti-Semitism is becoming sort of, well, a norm. Listen.
There's that strong correlation. Anti-Israel, drifting into anti-Semitism, very, very intensely anti-American. And now just here, that individual also believes America deserved 9/11. And of course, Israel deserved the massacre of 10/7. That's been building.
Saying that, Richard, final thought, he's a Democrat senator.
Listen, I respect Senator Fetterman. I do disagree with him, though. Just this week, we saw some of our colleagues at the Roosevelt Library. And one thing that TR talked about was the idea that the most patriotic thing you can do is criticize the person that's in office. And that's so uniquely American. And I think you can say you have a problem with the Israeli government without being anti-Israel or without being anti-Semitic. And I think the ideal of fighting for more social programs here at home is uniquely distinct from saying that there's problems in our foreign policy. And I think when you try to sort of combine the two, that's indeed problematic. And I often think that's mis and disinformation to many people in the audience.
All right. Richard Fowler. We'll talk more about this down the road, I'm sure. Richard, thank you.
We'll be right here. Good to see you, John.
Sounds good.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.